I'm someone who's very hard on herself, someone who's learning how to speak nicer to herself and be more positive after years of being pessimistic as hell, in which, you know, I've definitely convinced myself I have my reasons for being a pessimist. But this habit of like self-negative talk is just so tiring, and it feels like I'm getting to know myself all over again. Teenager me would be like, what the fuck, again? Like, we're really doing this again? Crazy, right? Does anyone ever wake up and like you take a glance in the mirror and it just fucking ruins your day? I don't know where that shift happened, where I stare at my reflection and I'm hating on myself. Hate is such a strong word, I don't know, but sometimes, and what I mean by sometimes, it's a lot of my days, I just really dislike myself. And this is more consistent now in my 20s. I don't know what that's about. I really don't. Just don't see what other people see. Why am I struggling so much? I've been learning to love my hair, aka my complicated to me curls. They have a mind of their own and they look good when they want to look good, okay? I don't see the good things a lot of the time. Compliments don't even fucking matter if you can't like see the beauty within yourself, or, you know, whatever people be talking about. It's a good hair day. Let's see how long that's gonna last. I'm happy. For like 5 minutes. JK. I beat myself up so much on days that I don't feel good, on days that I'm just like fucking sad as hell. I'm like, I don't want to be like a burden to anyone, and I think I struggle with actually telling people how I feel because of like that judgment, you know? I really have to try extra hard, and honestly sometimes I just can't do that on my own. It's really fucking hard. I've been thinking a lot about going to therapy. I don't want to self-diagnose, but I've been experiencing a lot of non-stop intrusive thoughts. And this happens more when I'm stressed, I've noticed. I've noticed the patterns of it, and it's usually when I'm just so fucking fed up and just super fucking stressed, and it's like I'm creating a fucking movie, a fucking horror film, really, in my mind. You know what it feels like? It's like being chained to like a leather chair. I don't know why I said leather chair, but that's what it feels like. And your head is like on a fucking, I don't know, it's giving Saw. Like, it's one of those things where your head is just locked in with this metal bar or whatever, and you're just in front of this TV, dark room, bright ass TV, and the images won't stop. Like, it's just going and going and going and going and going. That's what it feels like. I don't even know how to snap out of it sometimes. I have to like physically do something, like I shake my head, or it's time to find a therapist. I would love to find like a Black therapist. How much is therapy? You know what I mean? Like, it's another fucking expense. Yeah, life is beautiful, whatever. When I first started this project, I didn't know how I was going to place it all together, but here we are. I just wanted to say that back when I was in college, oh my god, saying that made me feel so old, but in freshman year, I met someone who went through something very similar to me. He had lost his mother around the same age that I lost my father. We understood what it meant losing a parent at a very young age. Both of us trying to get ready for high school. I mean, it's a weird time for sure. Fast forward to 4 years later, as we're finishing college, he made a comment saying, "I think you just reached the last stage of grief, acceptance." That always stuck with me because I never thought I'd see the day where the most traumatic event in my childhood would be something that I'd be comfortable to talk about so freely. 18-year-old me would be so vague about her familial bonds and probably wouldn't have written this then, but that's what pain does, I guess. My dad died 12 years ago today. I don't know, like, I just can't believe where I am now, I guess. What a journey I've had with grief. I never thought I would be here talking about it in front of a fucking camera. Can't even look at it. We would always like take trips into the city, and we would always talk about how cool it would be to get like an apartment in the city. I actually live in the city now. I moved 6 months ago, actually. I think it's 6 months today. I think it's 6 months tomorrow, living in this apartment. I feel like he kind of got it for me. The whole like ordeal on how I got the apartment, I think it was just pretty fucking awesome. I think this place was meant for me, so hey man. I guess I'm grateful for where I am right now. Just want to reach certain milestones and so be nice to myself about it. Enjoy the journey. Who knows where I'll be 5 years from now. It's gonna be so cool to look back on these videos, so yeah. In my personal opinion, or my personal experience, I think grief is something that you don't really move on from. I think once you experience it, you have it for life. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, at least when the pain subsides and life becomes tolerable. Grief definitely grows with you and it changes you, and I mean, you learn to live with this thing that it just becomes a part of you now, But sometimes I can't help but wonder, people that don't really experience grief like others, like bereavement, especially at a young age, it makes me feel sad for myself because I don't have the certain experiences that other people have with like their parents, or like family in general. I don't really have people that I can turn to. I don't have any siblings, and I also have this fear of like judgment. Like, if I really open up to someone and tell them what's going on in my mind, I feel like that's gonna scare people away. So with everyone that I meet, everyone that I encounter, they will never know like the real me. I don't know how to let that guard completely down. And I've come to like this point, even when I consume alcohol, I'm always like on my toes. Compared to college, I would do that for fun, right? But now that I'm older, I just feel like even with that, in like social outings or whatever, I don't know, like I just feel like I have to be on my toes. Like I can't be completely loose. I can't like let my guard down. I think I'm just overthinking it, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I felt offended when the visits gradually stopped. I seem not to care if this is your indication that you've crossed over. Because let's face it, I'm still human and I succumb to the selfish acts of humanity. I've been worried about what comes next. What's happening in your realm? Am I doing enough to hold my place outside of Earth? Your birthday was yesterday and I stayed up envisioning scenarios of your enjoyment. Lately, I've been noticing a change in me, how sensitive I'm becoming as each year approaches. I wonder if you went through the same. I wonder how many levels of self-awareness and worth there is to reach. I don't know, maybe I've always been that way, and what I'm experiencing now is a delayed response of all the hurt I kept inside. In cold September, I hiked along the bridge of the Dead Lanterns. I thought of you and dove into this pool full of abundant memories. Across the bold blue water stands the red railing. I pictured you leaning on it with your left hand, your outdated phone on the right. We could speak for hours if time allowed, and I can't quite remember the last time I felt secure. I poured all my minimal miseries onto the palm of your hands. I never told you how heroic that was in my childhood eyes. In the early spring, we walked through the trail speaking about your existence, surpassing Earth. Your eyes welled up at the sweet words that left my lips at the young age of 10. But we kept walking, and I would keep my head down, not for the reason you may think, but because walking beside you was floating on safety. Moments shared our haze, but I cherish the ones my brain lights up with great detail. The beginning of the last times I felt secure. 3 weeks into the new year, my childhood never stood a chance, nor did yours. As dawn broke on a winter-cold Sunday, the sound of a threatened banshee disrupts my last good sleep. At 9 a.m., I made it to the 6th floor into Alice's apartment, where her mother provided me a home with her warm embrace and sympathetic eyes as she cried with me. You left your possessions hung in the closet that later became mine, as your wife scurried with cardboard boxes every day for a week. Thunder radiates throughout the now dark city. If you could hear my blaring heart, you would think I'm responsible for the church bell in High Bridge. On my 14th birthday, I couldn't comprehend your absence. No message from you that year, not even a visit when I lay with the cousin of death. I would grow up to become great friends with paranoia, and the rage that lives in me is my daughter whom I feed fire to. I love people just to lose them, and their lives are feared for. I can't connect with others except with the soulless. I'm drawn to believe they're just misunderstood. I'm indecisive, a woman who accepts her fate, a woman who's afraid of her mind but chooses to love it anyway, whose accompanied comfort is her individualism, loneliness, beauty, resentment. Ultimately, my greatest despair of all is, yes, I can talk about you all I want. Talk about how much you meant to me, to others, what your legacy holds, how your life unfolded before our eyes. But the reality of it is, time doesn't stop. Life has moved on, and no one truly cares. Forgive me when I say I've come to visit only 2 out of the 12 years you've been away. I was dependent on my dad to help me, I was gonna say something else, but I think that's it. I was dependent on my dad to help me.